Hello. Good morning, everybody. We'll be waiting a few minutes and we'll start right away. Hi, Julia. Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome. Hi, everybody. I see some faces or names better that we know from the project and from the sector. So thanks for joining us today, this morning. We have organized this webinar in related to the Mobilities for EU projects. We will be starting soon. We'll wait just one more minute. I'll share the screen. You see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. So I'll do it like this. Perfect. So thanks for joining this morning. Today is our third meetup. The focus of our meetup today is from data to public value. How to work, build, and interact with these data spaces focused on mobility innovation. Our co-organizer today is CARNET. So we have a few people from CARNET that will present today some of the use cases they are working on. And my name is Eva. We will be co-organizing this with Christina from CARNET. So nice to meet you all. First, a short introduction about the project and what the meetups are, and then we'll go deep dive into the different examples and use cases that we have prepared for today. And then there will be the question and answers. So during the presentations, as soon as you have questions, please note them in the Q&A or chat, and we will go and review them at the end of the webinar. So first, why are we doing this and why are we here today? So the project that we're working on with CARNET is Mobilities for EU. It is a project in which we are prototyping and testing 27 autonomous and electric mobility solutions in different cities. We have built 7 urban labs and we're co-creating the solutions with the local stakeholders and citizens. That you see here are the different partners involved in the project. And the solutions go from autonomous buses and robots to bidirectional charging or hydrogen stations. The project started in 2024, and we are now already in our 3rd year. And in this process, we have built capacity building program, and this program is structured around different actions. Some of the actions are internal and some external, and these meetups are external. So we do open sessions to share what we are doing in the project and what the partners are doing around the different themes or sessions that we work through the project. So there are some sessions focused on social innovation, finance, monitoring and evaluation, innovative mobility solutions, or environmental impacts. And today we're in the 3rd session. We have already done these 2. We have organized almost 20 sessions around, like from 2026, 2027, and 2028. And so today we're here for from data to public value. So how to generate public value through data. who we are, we right-click, so non-profit association based in Paris. We're focused on co-creating solutions in the labs. And we're in charge of this capacity building program that has been co-constructed with the labs, identifying the main needs and proposing and co-creating with the local stakeholders these type of sessions, the themes and the format. And so now I pass the floor to Christina.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Eva. I cannot take the control, so you will need to. Okay, thank you. So, welcome everybody to this session. I will introduce quickly who we are and then what we do in the project so you understand why we organize this session regarding data. So CARNET was founded 11 years now. It was founded in 2015 by the agreement of 3 different partners. The UPC, it's the Polytechnical University located in Barcelona. Volkswagen Group Innovation, that it's the Volkswagen branch within the group that is in charge of research, in which all the innovation is managed and then transferred to the different brands of the group. And as we are located in Barcelona, also we have on the mix SEAT, that is one of the brands of Volkswagen Group located in here. So go ahead, Eva. So for the past 11 years, what we have been doing is exactly this, connecting academia, industry, and also the public sector in order that we can all together grow on the different directions that transportation, automotive, and mobility is going. And it's an industry that is changing a lot, and we need all the stakeholders involved. So this is our ecosystem and what we orchestrate, let's say. We have the 3 founders that I mentioned, that we have a small group of industry partners located in the territory that are working on mobility and automotive so that we can cooperate and research together. And then we also work with different academic partners besides the UPC that complement our activities, for example, from the design or the business point of view. And then we also collaborate with different entities of the public sector, taking into account that mobility is very much related to public domain. And we belong to different EU networks as we want to scale everything that we do on research here locally to different cities and areas around Europe. So we do that in different projects. We do private projects, mainly internal research projects within the Volkswagen Group. We also do national research projects together with the UPC University. We have 11 national projects funded and we have managed from CARNET 8 different PhD theses. Also on international projects and cooperation, that is very important for us because at the end, all the regions and cities in Europe face similar problems, so we can cooperate and research together. So we collaborate with the Tier 1 mobility projects. Also, we participate in Horizon Europe projects like this one, or other funding entities like Interreg or DUT. We also collaborate with startups from our startup hub within CARNET. So we do from our industrial partners technical scouting for startups and technologies. We also have run different acceleration programs from within the CARNET team. And we have had a scale-up program that lasted the last 5 years, in which we work with different mobility startups that want to scale in different areas in Europe. And also on these last 11 years, we have created one spin-off directly from CARNET, that it's by Logistics, in which we have one logistic robot that goes through the cities, that it's an autonomous logistic robots for delivery in the cities. So what we do in mobilities, well, I think that we can skip this one. I've already presented who we are and where and what we are doing in the different cities for mobilities. We have different pilots and actions. You have here the different actions that are going on within mobility, and CARNET has a double-fold role. One of them is coordinating all the evaluation of the project. So we have city-specific evaluation and monitoring programs for all these pilots and activities that you saw that we have on the project. And we put together the evaluation framework and the monitoring programs to follow up these interventions and be able to evaluate how they impact the cities and how they can impact future cities, and how these interventions and pilots and technologies can be later on adopted throughout Europe. And sorry, if you can come back, Eva, sorry. And also we are collaborating, of course, with Volkswagen Group Innovation with the deployment of the autonomous charging robots that will be tested in Dresden, as this autonomous charging robot is using the same base of the robot of this spin-off that I mentioned before. So it's like a next step of the robots that we develop within CARNET. So as mentioned, really quick, we put together the evaluation framework following the Civitas evaluation framework so that we can evaluate these 27 pilots. And then we also, on the next slide, you will see that we will have these monitoring programs divided in two different areas. One is the social KPIs that we collaborate with Right-Click, and the different urban transport labs that are on the different cities so that we can evaluate from a social aspect these interventions. And then we have monitoring activities related to the technical KPIs. And we gather all these monitoring tools are managed through data spaces. That's where we get on the thematic of today. So data spaces are really important when we are discussing the data collection and evaluation of interventions of mobility solutions. As I mentioned before, the mobility industry, it's getting complex because it's not only vehicles, public transportations, and specific stakeholders that we knew 20 years ago, let's say, so that it's bringing into the matrix a lot of different new stakeholders from the electrification point of view, the digitalization point of view, and also now the automation point of view from the C-Camp interventions. So to have all this data in a same place where the different technology actors can understand how their solution combined with the other solutions is creating impacts for the cities, it's really important. And when we were discussing with Right-Click, we thought that this was a good opportunity to not only present what we are doing on mobilities for EU for the data space, but how these data spaces work in general. And the session today would be about these data spaces and how different technology partners can work better and together to create impact for the cities when implementing new mobility solutions.
Thanks, Cristina. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So let's move to the speakers that we have today. We have Jordi Pallise Vilanova from the Universitat Politécnica de Catalunya. He's an associated professor. Then we will have Mónica Aguilar Igartua from the same university, UPC. She's a full professor in the Department of Network Engineering. And then we will have Albert Borreguero Ruiz from CARNET. Each of them will present different use cases that you will see today and how they use their data space from these different environments. Please, let's start with the multi-sector data space and how it works. I leave the floor to Jordi.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure to present our project to the mobility sector. Well, I'll just go straight into the topic. I don't think I can do the take control thing. No, that's
No problem.
Okay, no worries. So yeah, this is a project funded also by the EU and the Spanish Ministry of Digital Transformation. And basically, we are building a data space. For those who don't know what the data space is, I have in the next slide small introduction. It's mostly based on the agro-logistics sector because it's, even though our data space is multi-sector, we are now very strong in the agricultural sector, but we're also opening up, and we have, as you will see, two very interesting use cases in the mobility sector. So imagine here in this slide, you can see the supply chain of wine or liquor. Or here I put cava because here in Catalonia we do cava. And well, you know that the cava producer will sell cava to a wholesale distributor, and the distributor sells it to different end consumers, restaurants, supermarkets, or retail shops. But you know, today you have data everywhere. Everyone collects data, but it's isolated. No. So, for example, the cava producer, you can see in the next, please. Maybe the cava producer wants to know the profile of their consumers. No, who is consuming the cava? Why are they doing so? In which regions? So the cava producer could ask the wholesale distributor, but it's a very common problem, and probably you've heard of this, no? That the distributor is a little bit eager, that doesn't want to share this data, no? Because the customer information is very sensitive. There may be some privacy concerns and also some business concerns, no? Because this is a very sensitive information, no? So the distributor has other competitors, and it doesn't want other competitors to be able to see this data, no? So we've been like locked in this situation for several years, and the solution to this problem are data spaces. So in the next slide, you can see that data space is a neutral space where even competing entities can share data. The key points of a data space, the first one is that it's a neutral space. No? The data space have a governing body, so there is not a central entity managing it. Also, they enforce a lot the concept of data sovereignty that I will explain later in more detail. And especially important for any entity is a legal framework. No? So the transactions of data and the data that is shared and the level of detail, everything is legally codified. So in case that, let's hope it doesn't happen, something goes wrong, there are some mechanisms to enforce these legal provisions. And also, since we are in a neutral space, we can also do some computations, or now that everyone's talking about AI, we can do some training of neural networks. And we can even, in our example would be that the distributor would upload data, but we can aggregate this data so we can preserve privacy, and it can share it to the cava producer. So this would be an example. There are other examples. Oh yes, you can go to the next one. Just as a quick mention. So I know of here in Spain, the tourism sector is really important. So there are some examples on hotels sharing the number of empty rooms. Sorry, it's not hotels, it's campings. Campings sharing the number of empty rooms, but not disclosing which camping has how many empty spaces are in each camping, but just aggregating them so they can do better marketing campaigns to fill in these spots. Or there's another example, I think, in Germany about the automotive sector, about the auto parts. But, well, I'm derailing. So our data space, we call it UPCXLs, and it's managed by the Universitat Politécnica de Catalunya. Again, no, we enforce data sovereignty, so it means that every participant decides how it shares the data, with who it shares the data, and when they share the data. We also we try to be as transparent as possible in creating a trust framework. So we use open source code. We do some validations of the transactions. Also, from the legal point, we provide a legal framework to ensure that data sharing is secure, complying with the current regulations of RGPD, and also so that people have some leverage in case that something goes wrong, that we hope it doesn't happen. And finally, we use standard protocols so that in the future, since the EU is building a lot of data spaces, we can connect with other data spaces. So this means that you may be in our data space, but if we don't have the data that you need, we can talk to another data space and you can get the data from them. And all of this, probably you know that it's a EU's approach to data sharing, data management. They usually explain that in the USA, data is owned by the huge companies like Google and Facebook. In China, the government has a very strong, let's say, involvement in the management of data and the management, well, of the companies. But the EU's approach is data sovereignty. And as I said, you'll see that I repeat it a lot. It's that when you enter a data space, you have total control over your data, and you decide with who you share the data, what they can do, and you have this legal guarantee that I said. So delving down into UPC Excels, along this like nearly 2 years that we have started, we have been accommodating different use cases. And also one of the nice thing of having different use cases and being multi-sector is that we can create synergies. No? So as I said, we are very strong in the mobility and agricultural sector, but this allows us that we have several sectors to create synergies, no? Because maybe some other sector has data that you are interested in. No? So, and this led to the creation of a new use case called agri-logistics that joins the logistics sector and the agricultural sector, no? Because you may want to optimize some delivery routes that are transporting fresh fruit or vegetables. But talking about, and you'll see this in the presentations of Albert and Monica, nearly all use cases have a wide range of participants. No, we usually have private companies, like especially small and medium companies. We have research centers, universities, cooperative also. This is especially true with the agricultural sector. Not here in Catalonia, there are a lot of cooperatives that produce different fresh fruits or nuts, etc. And also public sector. No, we have some regional government. We have data from the ministry. We have also some involvement of some town halls, and also some foundations and NGOs. No, basically everyone is welcome. And for example, here we have an example of the ecosystem of AgriXels, which is the use case around agriculture. And you can see it, we have, as I said, no, for example, Airbus as a private company is providing satellite imagery. We have several medium companies and small companies that are related to the agricultural sector with the ICT side. We have a retail distributor called Ametller. As I said, no, these cooperatives that produce fresh fruit or nuts. Some research organizations from Castilla-La Mancha. So also some sectorial clusters from, for example, for wine or food distribution. Also some, well, as I said, no, a lot of different participants from all the sectors. And also we are working, this is like a work in progress, with ITU, which is the United Nations branch dedicated to telecommunications and standardization, to help them build a data space for the countries to exchange data about telecommunications deployment. This is in the framework of this project that is between ITU and UNICEF, because they want to connect all the schools in the world to the internet. And the data space would help share the information on which connections are made and not. Okay, so this is also very, very nice and very like explaining how it works, what we want to do, but how does it actually work? So our platform is already working. We're always adding new features, but this is just a quick summary of how it works. No, so our approach is that you do it everything via web interface, which is what most people are used to. So first of all, you register as a participant. You go to our website. You provide your identification data. And you have to sign the terms and conditions and also a rule book that governs all the things you can do and cannot do in the data space. And then we, UPC as the governing organization, will do a manual approval, no? Because we always control who is in the data space. And then you get some credentials and you can enter the data space. You can have two roles in the data space and they are complementary. So meaning you can have both of them. So and these are the data consumer and the data producer. So as a data consumer, you have a catalog, as you can see here. You can browse the different sectors, you can search, it's a little bit like an online shop. And when you find a data space that you're interested, you request access. You will have to sign a data sharing agreement that is different from the one that you shared before. So this is a data sharing agreement between you and the data provider. And once you get this approval from because right now from our study of the participants, when you request data, the producer has to authorize this transaction. No? So when you request access and you sign the data sharing agreement, the data producer will accept it or reject. And if you get the agreement accepted, you will be able to download the data. And I think, yeah, the other role is data provider. You have each participant has this website that you can manage your data. You have a private repository to store your data. I think I have some explanation in the next one. Yes. So you have a private. Each participant has a private space to upload data. Then from this data, you can decide which ones you will publish so that people can see them in the catalog. They are not accessible. People just can see like a description, the metadata, things like that. And also you have here, you see, well, the platform is in Spanish, but we're always adding features and translations. You have solicitudes pendientes, meaning that you can approve data requests. And as a data provider, when you decide that a data set will be published in the catalog, you can add some metadata to help people find it easier. Your data set gets a unique ID. You can select the ecosystem in which you want it to be published. And also you have to add some restrictions, no? Because you may want to allow the use of the data only for research, or you want to prevent some uses. So you can add some restrictions. And also you will be able to preview the data sharing agreement. And also in the future, it's a possibility. So we offer a template as a data sharing agreement to, ease the process. But if you want to change this sharing agreement because your organization's legal requirements, because you are not comfortable with the clauses we have written, you can change it for another one. And when someone requests this data, they will see your agreement. But we're going a little bit further because one of the things you can really do with data is not only sharing, but you can also process it. As you know, everyone's doing it with AI. And another way we're creating value, and we believe it's the one that can create most value rather than just sharing data, is services. So meaning that you can do some compute. Well, here you have a summary of all the different ways you can do it, but the one that we have chosen is running algorithms in the data space. We are always investigating new ways, but the one that we think is more comfortable for our participants is running the algorithm in the data space. As you can see, compute can be anything, statistical calculations, analytics, and of course today AI algorithms that are nearly everywhere. And how does it work? It's very simple. So we have the data catalog and we have a service catalog. And in the service catalog, you have a set of services. You click the service you want to run, and then you get you have to choose which data set that you own you want to run the service. You click run service, and after some computation time, you get the result. And I think that's all the things we can do. As I said, we are very committed to security and transparency, and we do it in two main ways. Legally speaking, as I said, you have to sign and agree to the terms and conditions of the data space. And when you do a data transaction, you have to sign this data sharing agreement. And on the technical side, we store all the data in a data center owned by UPC here in Barcelona, and it's certified by some quality standards. We use open source software specifically designed for data spaces. So you have here the Eclipse data space components and the credentials of the GaiaX project from EU. And also we have a digital registry with all the actions that the participants do. So we can provide some we can provide some auditability and traceability of the data, which is one of the requirements of the data spaces also. And well, this is a little bit more technical, but this is here you can see the standard design of a data space, and how they are done. Typically, you would have this piece, the yellow piece that they call the connector, in your own infrastructure. No, you would deploy this thing, and this thing would connect to the data space that has all the, the governance, regulations, and permissions. And here you can see that in the way that you do that, so the data is stored in your infrastructure, and via the connector you can share it with other people. However, during our project, we saw that some participants don't have the technological capacity to run this connector in their infrastructure. This is an option that we offer, but what we have worked more is what we can see in the next one. That in this architecture, we provide what we call the connector as a service. And it's what you have seen during my previous slides. We run the connector in the UPC server. We have developed a web, we call it a web wrapper or a website, the one you have seen before, so that participants that don't have this infrastructure we make it easier for them. No, you can see here that we are actually storing the data in our servers, and you have here that you have we have this web wrapper that you've seen that it's easier to work with. And finally, the architecture of the services, it's more or less what I have explained before. No, we are currently offering two ways to run services. The first way is that everything is in a data space in this case, and either we have the option of, especially if you want to do machine learning and AI, it's very common that people use the Jupyter notebooks. So we offer like a similar to what they call a data room. No? So we offer a Jupyter notebook that is connected to a specific data set that you want to work with. And in this notebook, you can do whatever you want with the data, and you can take home the result, but you cannot take home the data. And this generates the logs so that the producer can know that they have accessed the data, but it hasn't left the data space. And the other option is what you've seen before, that we have a set of algorithms that are validated by us and are available in the catalog. And you also take home the results. So, as a conclusion, we have more data than ever, meaning that we have more opportunities than ever. You know that all sectors generate data continuously. It doesn't matter if it's the mobility sector, agriculture sector, anyone. But right now, the data is scattered and isolated, and data spaces are a way to, stitch together all this data, but with a set of guarantees that the data won't be misused, and that people will do what you expect them to do. No. So in this context, data spaces are an essential tool, no, for exchanging data. Also because I haven't mentioned that, because there are a lot of topics around data spaces, but we also we've been actively how to say, it's called what they call ontology or semantics, meaning that we want or we encourage people to standardize their data in a specific format. So this makes it easier for sharing, no? Because if all of us are using the same format, then it's very easy to analyze this data in an algorithm or share it with someone, and this someone can use it directly without having to transform it. So it's basically the idea is moving away from I share you something with Google Drive, I'll send you an Excel file or a CSV file. No, we have your file comes with a set of definitions, data definitions that you can that everyone understands and makes it easier and faster to share data. And I think that's all from my side. So thanks again for listening, and I'll be taking questions later, I think.
Thanks a lot, Jordi. It was really interesting to understand how the UPC cells work, and how do you have these different use cases among different sectors and all the stakeholders that are involved, and the different types of data that are stored in the space, and how this theoretically works through like either accessing data or through the services. So thanks a lot. It was very interesting. We move forward to real world use cases on mobility, and we have multi-sectoral data for occupational mobility. So I think now it's Monica.
Yes.
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your kind invitation, Eva and CARNET. My name is Mónica Aguilar. I am a full professor at the Universitat Politècnica de Catalunya, the UPC, in the Department of Network Engineering, and I am acting as the responsible of this multi-mode project, multi-sectorial data for compulsory mobility. So if we go to the next one. So this multi-mode project aims to contribute to the improvement of rural environment, focusing on the mobility. The goal is to enhance the quality of life of their inhabitants, and also fostering opportunities for new services that can stimulate the local economy and activity in the rural areas. Specifically, our proposal focuses on improving human mobility, and we have developed some tools to support this transition towards a more sustainable mobility. We can see here in the previous one, we can see that while in urban areas, in large cities, we have numerous opportunities to move. We have tram, metro, bus, bike sharing, etc. So services in rural areas these public services are very limited. For instance, we can see here in the blue cars here in the top, that traveling from villages like Montseny to the University of Vic in the rural area of Catalonia, which is 30 kilometers, so it's very restricted. They only have one single bus in each direction, so it's insufficient for students and faculty, so that they frequently rely on private cars, because this is the only feasible mode of transport. So to address this issue, several initiatives have already emerged, like here we can see the bus on demand services, designed to ensure that these inhabitants can, from smaller towns, can have opportunities to use public transport for essential services like healthcare, shopping, or banking even. So given this overall framework of the project, our main objective is to create a collaborative data space for occupational mobility. This occupational mobility includes all the daily travel driven by obligations, so commuting to work, to school, and this mobility represents the main source of mobility demand and the associated pollution. So to this end, we have collected occupational mobility, and we have complemented this data with socioeconomic information, and the data is disaggregated by gender, age group, and other relevant attributes. Multimo is a case study built on the UPC Excel's platform, as Jordi explained us. So it provides a multi-sector infrastructure combining advanced governance mechanisms with AI-based services. It establishes a collaborative data ecosystem that enables data sharing among public and private stakeholders, with a specific focus on occupational mobility. This platform also includes a secure and government data space, so designed to safely integrate, manage, and exchange mobility data. And this is what we needed. If we go to the next one. So in this space, in this data space, we have developed in Multimo, in the Multimo project, several services. So two main services, two groups of services. The first one is Multiactiva, which is aimed at public administrations, such as local councils, institutions, or associations. The goal is to support their decisions to plan public transport with the aim to improve quality of life over these rural areas, with this data mobility well informed. And the second family of services is Multinova. It is designed for companies operating in these rural environments. And it focuses on identifying mobility needs and enabling new services, for instance, on-demand transport, or also shared mobility solutions as car sharing, for instance, helping to create a more efficient, balanced and sustainable rural and also peri-metropolitan mobility with these new opportunities of business. If we go to the next one, to design our Multimo project, we are collaborating with 6 entities that help us to design this product, this project. And they have helped us to generate this data, this occupational data. We have selected these 6 entities because they are very big and they generate a very significant occupational mobility. They are 3 companies here in the left side, 3 companies and 3 universities. They are located in rural or also in peri-metropolitan areas. So first of all, we have designed and developed a very good, we think, a good mobility survey based on previous surveys of the UPC and also on previous surveys of these companies. And we have done a good mobility survey, very general, with the most important information, very complete, and also quickly, in 2-3 minutes, the user can answer to all the questions, right? So these 6 organizations are the Technological Park of Paterna in Valencia, and we have gathered 1,200, around 1,000 responses. 8% is small, no? We also have the Technological Park of Lleida, around 100 responses. It was small, but it's almost everybody, so 64% of the people have answered. In Bonaria de Guissona, which is in the middle of Catalonia, in a very rural area, like also Lleida, with about 31% of the responses, 2,000 responses. And also we have 3 collaborating universities. The UPC Manresa, we have several campuses. We have selected the campus that is in the middle of Catalonia, more in the rural area, with around 400 responses, 30% of the participation, which is a good result. The University of Vic, which is in the middle of Catalonia, in a rural area, with a lot of people coming from small villages around in rural municipalities, with around 1,000 responses, 30%, and UPCT, which is in the eastern part of Spain, right, with around 9% of the participation. So in total, we have gathered 5,000 responses. Here you can see you can access to the survey that we have prepared. And if we go to the next one, now, with all this data that we have gathered, we have designed 3 reports. So they have given us data, and then we have prepared 3 reports for them, free, because we are collaborating to design and to create this project. So from this occupational mobility data sets, we have developed 3 mobility reports. The first one is a set of interactive GIS maps that helps us to analyze mobility patterns in detail. So we can perform a very comprehensive diagnosis using origin-destination maps, isochronous, so the time that people take to get to the destination, modal split, right, and travel costs. So several important answers of the dataset are represented over these GIS maps. So very easily in a map, you can see all these answers and easily you can take conclusions, right? And understand how people move across the territory, how long are their trips, which is the cost, and so on. We also enrich these answers with other data. So here we have put other layers such as socioeconomical information, the current public transport supply, bus, train, and user profiles like gender, range, age range, and so on. So you can filter and very easily make your analysis. So the main goal is to identify critical hotspot hotspots. So the areas where the mobility is inefficient and they don't have public public services alternatives, for instance, in order to evaluate and to locate more sustainable alternatives to the places that are more needed. This report helps to see where the trips are concentrated, where the main problems lie, and where there are real opportunities for improvement, where we have origins and without public transport alternatives, for instance, right? There are more maps. So for instance, here we can also analyze the socio-demographic profile of the origins of the workers and students by easily visualizing the distribution of the origins and classify it by age range or per gender and so on in the map. Also, here we have put our conclusions. In the next slide, we can see also maps where we show the modal split of the trips, of the origins of these trips. And this helps us to understand the mobility habits of the community, linked to each one of the entities, of the 6 entities. Each one of them has a different set of maps. In our report, in every map has our comments, in the left column, in this text. But also we have another report where we analyze the current mobility habits and we give alternatives or suggestions to improve this mobility, this current occupational mobility for each entity. Then a second tool that we have developed is, together with this, with the corresponding mobility report, is a set of analytical calculators. We have implemented them in Power BI because it's very visual and very easy to filter the criteria, the features, and then we can transform data into key occupational mobility indicators, such as modal split, work schedules, travel patterns, as well as carbon footprint metrics, right? So it also includes heat maps to visualize where the workers are, the origins of these workers, and also to support prioritization of impactful interventions based on objective criteria. So to locate where we could have an impact, a response from the point of view of the workers, because they have an interest, for instance, to change to other more sustainable mobility modes. In the next slide, for instance, here we can see that we have used the survey dataset to calculate, for instance, for Paterna, the technological park of Paterna in Valencia. We have computed the annual CO2 emissions and other pollutants, also here in pink colors, we can see, generated by the employee commuting, going to work every day, right? And these results also can be separated by transport mode, by gender, by age range, by origin, so you can filter it very easily. So this allows the company to easily analyze the mobility patterns, the mobility behavior of the community, and draw conclusions, and also design better sustainable, so their sustainable mobility plans better in order to have a better results, and compare. So compare. When they design an action, they can again next year pass again all this survey and have all these reports and compare to see if the action had an impact or not, right? And then a third tool is this strategic report on modal shift, which is very interesting in order to the companies prepare these sustainable plans, right? So we have designed it, we have filtered, we have gone through a deep analysis of the users, of the workers or students that use private cars. So we have focused on these private cars, and we have analyzed it if they are willing or not to change to a more sustainable mode, right, of transport. So this report provides a roadmap, right, of the specific triggers and conditions, because they have some conditions sometimes necessary to ensure that the plans can be feasible and effective in order to transit to have to move towards a more sustainable transport of this occupational mobility, right? For instance, in Bonaria de Guissona, this was the results of Bonaria de Guissona, we saw that 66 of workers currently use private cars, because Guissona, you see, the picture is located in the middle of Catalonia, and the origins are a lot of very distributed and sparse small rural municipalities. So most of the people, 66 of the workers, use private cars. And within them, 64 of them travel alone. The others travel in groups, they organize, no? They perform carpooling, no? So to speak. And the survey specifically is addressed to them, to this collective, seeing their willingness to shift to 3 sustainable mobility modes: cycling, public transport, or car sharing, and the conditions, right? So cycling, 75 of them are not willing to change to cycling. Why? So it's logical, because in this company, they only have roads, they don't have dedicated cycling lanes, so it was natural, not this response. But however, they have a significant interest in other modes, no? 56% of them would consider switching to a car sharing service, which would be very interesting, no? For a company that was willing to offer them a car sharing service, for instance, with electrical vehicles, no? For instance. And also 50% of them would be willing to transit to a public transport, right? But they have conditions. We will see in the next slides. No? So we have also analyzed the specific requirements, such as the improved frequency, the door-to-door services, the cost-sharing applications, right? And therewith, these employees would change, would be able to change to these more sustainable alternatives. Yeah, now we can go to the next. So we offer them some options and also open boxes so that they could answer the conditions, no, to move from private car to a public transport, no. And the top 5 conditions were these. Yes, if the company provides us with a public transport timetables, because sometimes it's because they don't know which are the timetables, no? They don't know the offer of the public transport. Yes, if the trip time were less than 1.5 times the time that I spent using my private car, no? They would be willing to change only under this increasement of trip time, right? Yes, if the company gives us economical incentives for coming with public transport. Or yes, if the public transport stop was near your home or near your work. So that analyzing that, the company can design better or push the municipalities, for instance, no, which are the conditions of the workers, and they can design with a more informated data their new lines, no, for instance. And in the next slide, we can see also which are the conditions to move from private car to car sharing, for instance, no? Yes, if I could find colleagues with similar schedules. Yes, if the company, using an application, for instance, of carpooling, no? Yes, if the company gives economical incentives for car sharing. Or yes, if the company offers a guaranteed ride home policy for emergencies, right? So if there is an emergency, if there are some cars, no, that are available for these emergencies for the people that use car sharing, no? Or yes, if the company reserves parking spaces for car sharing vehicles, so that they have some incentives or some benefits, no, to do this transition. Or yes, provided the transport system supports trip sharing for personal activities on their return journey, because in the return journey sometimes they go to school or they go to the gym, no. So if they can make a trip sharing, if the application allows that, for instance, it could be more interesting for them, more appealing, no, for them. And now in the next slide, we can see that we also have prepared interactive GIS maps, so to easily analyze this willingness to switch to public transport or to car sharing. And we can filter by origin, no? And in the map, we can see, for instance, in the map where we analyze the willingness to move from private car to bus, we can filter by origin, clicking with the mouse, and we can see the percentage of people that are willing to make this transition per origin, right? So, for instance, in Tàrrega, this is Bonaria de Guissona, right? So, people that come from Tàrrega, 64% 50% of them are willing to switch to public transport, right? Or here in the other map, the willingness to switch to car sharing. 36% of the workers that come from Gisona are willing to switch to car sharing. So using this, the companies that offer car sharing services could see which are the target, the target municipalities or the target entities, or where they are interested to develop, to offer these new services. And finally, we have also developed, in the Multimo project, we have developed a tool, MobilityTap, which is a mobile application available for both Android and Google Play, for Android and iOS and iPhone, right? Designed for automated to make automatic the collection of mobility data, right? So from origin to destination, and a multimodal trip, and we can gather all the trip and with the different modes that you have used. This application uses smartphone sensors using an AI model that has been previously trained using a mobility data set that we have generated with trips labeled with us with unimodal trips, so that the model understands with these three sensors of the model, accelerometer, magnetometer, and gyroscope. We have trained a model so that the model can learn and can predict which is your current transportation mode, right? So using this, we can picture out the whole multimodal trip, right? And this technology enables us to easily generate these origin-destination matrices, providing a clear picture of the mobility patterns of the community, right? And also we think that this is very important in the next slide, that our tool can be very useful to help companies to prepare their compulsory corporative mobility plan. So they have to do that. It's compulsory by law, right? So using this plan, they must handle employee and visitor mobility data, and they must reduce, the goal is to reduce the private use of the vehicles and promote sustainable alternatives with the goal of decreasing the CO2, the overall CO2 generated by the occupational mobility of this company, right? And this is very relevant for our project, because the corporative mobility obligations is compulsory by law from November this year, the last year. And in December this year, in 2026, it's compulsory that all the companies that have more than 200 employees or 100 per shift, they have 2 shifts, right? It's mandatory. They have to present to the ministry, the Spanish ministry, which are their plans, their comparative mobility plans. They must do that. So tools like the tools that we have designed can help them to prepare and analyze and analyze the impact of their cooperative mobility plans. Yeah? So thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Monica. It was also very interesting to see a real case in rural areas and how you analyze. You achieved 5,000 answers, which is a lot on these. So it was possible to analyze all the data and crossing different sources of data. And let's move quickly to the next project. I move, Albert, please.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I'm Alberto Reguero, project manager of the iMove project. And today I will present you what we are developing in this project. As you already explained, iMove is the use case from UP sector focused on mobility, urban mobility. Monica explained the rural mobility use case. And the main focus of iMove, the objective is to generate this data space for the mobility sector and develop also tools that unify data from different sources to provide valuable information with that. Specifically, data from, sorry, the previous one. Yeah. Specifically data from sectors that usually do not cooperate with each other, and with this holistic vision of the city, we can create valuable information with our tools. Next one. Yeah, our team is formed by 4 research groups belonging to the UPC. The first one, well, we have several expertise areas. In the mobility sector, we have CARNET. For transport, we have BIT. On data science, we have the InLab. And computer science, the Department of Computer Architecture. And as Jordi explained before, IMOV is the use case of UPC itself. That is this data space understood as a place where the companies can exchange data in a secure and efficient way, always granting the data sovereignty and allowing each entity to control what data to share and with whom and under what conditions. The benefit for the participating entities on the data space is access to standardized and high quality data from other companies, but also to have access to advanced tools that we are developing or other companies can develop also and to share it within the data space. Also operational and optimization and reduction, collaboration with the innovative ecosystem, including public administrations, research centers, and private companies, and also strategic positioning in the field of sustainable mobility. The participants in the IMOV data space can take different roles. The first one are data providers, that are these companies that generate data within their activities. And maybe it's not useful for them, or maybe they want to take economic profit of this data, and they share it in the marketplace of data of the data space. Then we have data consumers, that are the companies that use this data that the providers share. Then we have the data intermediaries, that are these companies that maybe can help some other companies to extract the data and act as a bridge between the data space and the company. Or also companies that use the data from different sources and act as a bridge. And then data transformers, that are the companies that use the services that we are developing, but also companies that maybe they have a service that sits on the data space, and they want to include it in the services marketplace. So from our side, we have developed 4 different services or tools. 2 meant for individual mobility companies, and 2 for the public transport organization. The services for individual mobility companies are developed to improve the operational efficiency of taxi and ride-hailing services. And we do this through demand estimation models, that would be the IMOV demand tool, and also the optimization of working hours distribution, that this would be the IMOV operator tool. And then for the services for public transport, these are meant to improve the traffic management and transport planification. And we do this through traffic light priority strategies, that is the IMOV priority tool, and algorithm route planning, that is the service of IMOV control. So for the individual mobility companies, we've seen that it's a highly competitive environment where data sharing is limited. And this entails to long periods of time without customers inside the taxi, oversaturation of taxis in areas where there is insufficient customer demand, or lack of taxis in areas with potential customers. So with a data space like IMOV, it is possible to integrate the data from different sources and provide a much more accurate view of the mobility patterns. The data that we use are taxi departure and arrival points. These are the locations and time. And then other taxi parameters like occupancy, costs, and tariff. Then bus and metro fares validation, weather data, and major events like, for example, cruise ship arrivals, fairs, concerts, football matches, etc., that makes a shift on the mobility patterns of the city, and then parking data like occupancy of green and blue parking zones. So the first tool that I will explain is the iMove demand. For this tool, we use historical data sets of static taxi trips from various operators, and also public and private APIs with historical and future contextual information, like football matches or concerts, and that I said before. With this, we put this data on a machine learning model, and we predict the demand generation trained with this data set. And the output of the tool is a real-time updated taxi demand heat map that you can see in the screen, and also the tabular data standardized that can also be shared with other companies within the data space. And we have a short video showing the tool, the interface. Okay, you can see that in this map there are the important locations of the city, and also the demand generated in each zone, with also a forecast for the following hours that the operator of the taxi, in this case, will be able to see it in the mobile phone, and to decide to which zone should they go to have the best demand. Okay. And the operator, we also for this tool, we used also historical data set of taxi trips, and also the user operating preference selection. With this, we do an inference model to calculate the optimal operating periods and the revenue that the operator will have within it, with this operating period. The output is a graphical visualization of the daily revenue based on the selected parameters by the user, and also that tabular data of the results that also can be shared with other companies or with other services in the data space. We also have a short video of this service. And as you can see here, we have the income per time, and the user can select the different preferences that they have, like the start hour and end hour if they do they want to do a custom range, and also the working hours and the shift. For example, in this case, if the operator wants to do 2 shifts, the tool will automatically calculate the 2 best options of the shift that you can see here. Also the above annual average and the expected income per shift. Apart from that, the user can select more options, like for example, the weekdays that they want to select, or the season, or events. With this, the tool will, apart from the best shift, like before, it will include more information for the operator to decide which ones of the shifts are the ones that he will operate. These tools have been developed with the help of various taxi operators and taxi companies. So the preferences and the tabs are selected by the most useful ones for them. And also it's still in developing. So in the future, it will have more and more features on the app. But by the moment, this is the application. And then moving to the public sector, the public transport operations service. We've seen that there is a shared interest, both on the part of the companies and the users, to improve the service, especially on these 3 points that are irregularity in the passage intervals, lack of coordination between operators and traffic controllers, and a slow reaction to operational incidents. So again, with a data space like eMove, it is possible to have this holistic view, as I said before, of the city, and integrate these information sources to provide a more accurate view of the mobility patterns and to improve the service. The data that we use are traffic flow, that is vehicle count, speed, and density. Also bus operations like real-time GTFS, wait times and fleet capacity, GIS infrastructure, road geometry, hierarchy, and signal phases, and mobility demand, that's origin destiny matrix and fabulous actual locations, and then congestion profiles and network topology. So the first tool of the public transport services is the iMove Priority. This tool uses real-time bus location information and static files of traffic light maps and GTFS of the bus routes with their stops and shuttles. With this, we infer the real-time bus locations in a computational model using the GTFS file. And with this, we obtain a regularity strategy with the passage intervals that this strategy tells the operator to maintain or increase the regularity of the buses, and also the tabular data to share in the data space. Here we have the video of the interface, the tool, and in this case you can see that there are the real-time bus locations. I don't know if it's seen well, but there are the buses with the lines, the different lines that the operator wants to see or to visualize, and the prioritization of the traffic lights. And with this, it will compute the strategy that is not seen in the video, but the strategy to include a priority on a traffic light, or to stop one bus, or maybe to skip one stop, in order to maintain the consistency in the service of the bus. And last but not least, we have the iMove control tool that works with stop location and service frequency, and the tabular data of traffic density of the city. And with this, we compute a trouble placement problem. This is meant for the operators that want to include or to implement a new bus line. And with this tool, they can calculate the fleet size, the fleet volume, and the specific route that the bus must go by. So the output of this is the GeoJSON file with the geocoded points and directions of the final route, and graphical visualization of the optimal line route. And in the video you can see the interface, where the operator will select the start point and the end point, and also parameters like the frequency or the number of stops and where the stops are, and the tool, here you can see the frequency and the number of stops, and the tool will automatically calculate the best route or the optimal route, and it will compute the fleet size needed and the kilometers and the time, the duration. So these are the 4 services developed in the iMove project. As I said, the possibilities within a data space are infinite. Apart from sharing data, as Jordi said, there is an important thing about the services. And this is just a preview of what can be done in a data space. So I hope that you liked it. And that's one for any questions that you have. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Alberto. I think with this we have seen a deep dive on specific use cases today. Let's see if we have any question or comment from the audience. Specifically, in any case, for me it was very interesting, the differences that we had in the specific rural area and the services that we could offer, like the data that we can obtain regarding demand, disaggregated demand all along different municipalities, and compared to the urban area with again different data and the possibilities that this can generate for taxi drivers, public mobility operators. So it was really interesting to see how this can be all put together. Do we have any question from the audience? Monica.
Yeah, I've got one for Albert. Yeah, this traffic light priority scheme that you have designed in eMove, do you think that it could be adapted to create a green traffic light wave for ambulances in the city?
That would be another use case. And with that, we need to integrate the information from ambulances requests and also the information of the traffic light and the API that uses the controller of the traffic light. And with that data space, it's possible to have this information fast and to aggregate this information and have a service to shift the traffic light in real time.
Very well, because I heard that there is a call in Barcelona for that idea, I think. So talking to the SEM about that could be very interesting.
We have a question from Sophia. Can students access to this data space?
Good question. Mostly they are designed for companies. So, I mean, like we have the version, yeah, it's mostly for companies. So you need to provide your VAT ID to be accepted. But we had the idea of giving like a demo version or a free access version that you can see like what's in there. So if you're interested, you can write to our email or anyone here, and I'll put our email. Yeah.
I have a question for Monica. So your survey with all these data allowed you to create all these maps. And then you had this mobility app that gathers real-time information. So how do you manage to use the data space with this one-time information, which is the survey, and then the app that it's real-time information? How do you mix these different data? Like, is it used differently?
Yeah. As Jordi mentioned, it's very important in order to be in the future, be able to aggregate different data spaces. It's very important to use an ontology and a semantic, the same, to be compatible, right? So one first analysis that we did is to analyze which are the ontologies, the ontologies that people do in other cities, in other countries, and if there is no a reference ontology, then we have to create ours. So we have used others, and we have adapted that to our specific case of occupational mobility, no? For tackle this problem of the mobility for the commuters that go to work or to the university, or big entities that generate a lot of mobility. So this was the first thing to do. And this is why we have created our own survey, to have our own columns with metadata and the units and explain it, right? And we have passed this survey to the 6 entities. This is so the data is compatible because it's our survey. If another, and the survey would be available as a service, no? If another entity wants to upload their own data from their own survey, one thing that we have to do is to make it compatible with our
to do the matching. Yes,
exactly. So, and there is a process, no? We have a script, so there is a process. It's also possible, right? So we prefer to use our survey, but if not, if they already have their survey, we have to match, no? And make a pre-processing here and a script to match and to see which columns are common. Well, if they use a good survey, probably most of the questions will be there. But we also have other questions like the willingness to switch to other. So maybe they don't have it. No, well, we could not analyze that, but at least probably we have some common questions, right? And the other tool is in parallel. We have also designed. We are designing this tool, MobilityTab, right? And this tool is useful as a complementary source, right, to obtain data, mobility data, right? Because with this app, the MobilityTab, this application, in the server, in our server, or in the server that we agree, right? In this server, we also have a data set, and this data set can also be uploaded to UP6 to the data space, right? In this, but also this data set should be compatible. No, we should do this transition. So it's a little different because this data set is a typical origin destination data set, but with the intermediate transition points, right? And the prediction of the transport that the user had during this term. And this is done automatically by using the IPP, that is in your smartphone, right? So you don't have to answer a survey, so you only have to give permission to use this application. So it's another source of data, right?
But this data is also stored in the space or not?
Not yet, but it could be. So far we have developed the tool, right? The tool, because it's very important that the data set is uploaded by the company, right? The owner of the data, right? So this is another product that we offer. So if the company would like to use this instead of the survey, they could do that, right? And the data set should then be uploaded by them, and we have all the process prepared, right? So it's another option, the survey or the application.
Thanks a lot, Monica. We have Jordi, please.
Yeah. Hi, Monica. I just wanted to ask you if you plan to, this ontology that you have developed, do you plan to make it public so other people can use it for their data sets?
We have not talked about that with Julia, no? We have a member, Julia, that works also in UP6 and in MobilityTab. Every case study has a person that is the contact with UP6 to be compatible, and everything is done very organized, right? And why not? We are not reluctant to do that, no? So it's good. It's good because we had a lot of hours at the beginning dedicated to decide which would be a good ontology, and now that we've got our ontology, it could be public. And our survey also is I think that the survey, the metadata of the survey, the columns, we plan to put that in UP6 so that this is the ontology, right? So the fields of our survey. Yes,
because if other people do surveys, they can use your ontology, and then everything is
or directly our survey, because we provide we have our survey is we have computed that with R, with free code, and we've got a link, right? So they can use it. So we can adapt some fields for the specific entity, but they could use our survey, or at least they can see the questions, and they can do their own survey if they want. But if they use our survey, then we save a lot of time and a lot of computational, in order to make them match, right? So we offer also our survey as a service.
Thanks a lot. I think that we can stop it here, and I would like to thank all the speakers and the participants for your time. It was very interesting to see the different applications and how a real data space works. I have to say that in our project, Mobilities for EU, we have 2 data spaces, one in Madrid that is developed by Test Systems, and one in Dresden that is developed by SAP. We will have another specific session on showing what we are doing in the 2 data spaces within the project. The idea was to show a specific case today on CARNET experience with UPC Excel. I have put some, I'm going to put some information about us and the project LinkedIn. We will continue next month on a specific mobilities meetup on the strategy and how to implement urban data strategy, urban mobility strategy, sorry, not data, mobility strategy in within cities, so related to the mobility plans, SOMPs and SOPs, logistic plans for cities. And this will be organized by the city of Espoo and Cartif. We will put the information online on this. I would like again to thank the participants and you, the speakers, for the session of today, and CARNET for organizing all this for today. Albert, I don't know if you, Albert Verges, I don't know if you wanted to say something? You were just, not necessarily. Yeah, okay. So thanks again for your time, and have a good end of the week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.